Something that sets the Ben 10 franchise apart from other sci-fi alien series is the level of attention to detail when it comes to the origins of each alien species. Each and every alien in Ben's arsenal is more than just a transformation, having a homeworld, species name, and at least a little bit of lore. Well, most of them anyway. Unfortunately, a few of the aliens, particularly in Omniverse, never ended up getting a species name. I know the Ink Tank have been using their And Beyond series to popularize fan-coined terms such as Pripotosian A, and I'm not necessarily here to tell anyone that they shouldn't be using those names when referring to certain alien species, but this video is just a bit of fun had for a thought experiment, and I leave it completely up to you whether to use these suggested species names, the Ink Tank species names, or your own original ideas. We're all part of the fandom, and my aim with this video is just to share a few random ideas I had. But without further ado, let's get right into it. It's hero time! Starting us off with the small but lovable barfing bug, Bullweevil. For this species, I propose the name Flemficula. Forficula is part of the scientific name for earwigs, and the horns on Bullweevil remind me of earwig mandibles, and of course, so that's where that comes from. And phlegm, of course, is a substance produced by the body that is quite similar to the plasma gunk that Bullweevil uses. Flemficula it is. Next up, Molestache. For these guys, I propose Handlebara. Molestache is a joke alien, so why not go with a joke name? This name combines the word handlebar, like a handlebar mustache, and the word capybara, an animal that I think Molestache looks quite similar to. In all seriousness though, if Handlebara is a little too goofy for you to take seriously, a more appropriate name suggestion could be Prehensilic Rodentia. This one uses the words prehensile and follicle, referring to the prehensile hair follicles on Molestache's face, as well as the scientific word for the rodent family, Rodentia, making, of course, Prehensilic Rodentia. Now for Kickenhawk. For this species, I have two suggestions. Firstly, Raptosian, combining the words raptor, as in the family of birds, not the dinosaur, and adding a common species name suffix to the end to make it sound more like an alien, such as with species like the Atrocian, Kinoceleran, Pripotosian B, etc. The second suggestion I have is Extremitalon Hawkmorph, which combines the word extremity and talon to imply that Kickenhawk is a martial artist who fights with his talons, and Hawkmorph simply combining the words hawk and morphological, meaning the morphology of a hawk. Next up, Topic. I'm particularly proud of this one, not gonna lie, so for Topic I suggest Disfigoga. Firstly, this name uses corrupted spellings of the words disfigure, fig, and ogre. Disfigure for obvious reasons. Fig because I think that Topic's real face looks kind of like a fig, I don't know why, I just kind of roll with that. And ogre because, well, Topic reminds me of an ogre. Altogether, the name also sounds pretty scary and repulsive, which is the whole point. Topic is a pretty monstrous alien species, so I think this is a very fitting name for them. Now, Astrodactyl. For this, I propose Astrosaurus, in reference to a book series that I was quite fond of when I was growing up, the Astrosaurs. I don't know if anyone else has ever read those books, but I love them. However, if you're looking for a more scientific/interesting name, then may I propose Exoatmosapien. This one takes the word exo, atmospheric, and another common Ben 10 species name suffix, sapien, as seen with Celestial Sapien, Chronosapien, etc. On top of that, Exoatmos sounds sort of like the Coatlus in Quetzalcoatlus, which was one of the largest flying dinosaurs to ever exist, so I think that's a neat little detail. It's kind of a stretch, but hey, I mean, you know, it's my name, I can decide what the reference is. Next, Atomics! For this species, I suggest the name Morphonucleoid. This one combines the word morphological again, but also the word morph to imply Atomics' ability to manipulate radiation, which is also where the next part of his name comes from, that being the word nuclear. Finally, the oid is another suffix such as seen with opticoid and spheroid, but is also in reference to an actual type of cell known as a nucleoid. And it's a reference to what nuclear fallout results in, a barren landscape devoid of life. No, not devoid, devoid. Different word. Next up, Gut Rot. For this stinky-ass clown, I propose Gastronausean. Gastro is in reference to gastroenteritis, a condition that causes diarrhea and vomiting, but it also contains the word gas, and, you know, that's kind of Gut Rot's whole thing. Nausean is both in reference to the word nausea, a feeling one often gets when sick, and a suffix found in other species such as Pripotosian B and Nalgian. While that does it for the unnamed alien species in Ben's arsenal, I also decided that it might be fun to give new names to the ultimate variants, rather than just calling them Evolved Vaxosaurian, Evolved Vulpamancer, and so on. Like, these species are different enough from their original forms to count as wholly new species classifications, and if you want to argue that, then let me point out that by that logic, we shouldn't be called humans, just evolved chimps. So, starting off with Evolved Vaxosaurians, I suggest Ballistosaurian. referring to the ballistic weapons at Ultimate Humongousaur's disposal. Then evolved Methanosians. How about Nitromethanite? Referring to the explosive properties of evolved Methanosians, as well as having a different suffix to end the species name. Next, evolved Arachnochimps. Simple enough, Gorilla-Arachnid. I don't think I need to explain this one. Now, evolved Necrophrygians. Another simple one, Pyrophrygians. Evolved Arborian Pelorota. For these guys, I suggest Terrestrial Recarota. Seeing as evolved Arborian Pelorotas technically originate from Earth, we replace Arborian with another word for Earthlings, that being terrestrial, and then we replace the Pel part of the name with Wreck, because when curled up, he looks like a spiked wrecking ball. Also, the name is just plain fun to say out loud. Terrestrial Recarota. Next up, evolved Sonarosians. This one's a change that's going to need some explaining, but I have called them Sonarosian Sonaris. So for this one, the word Sonarosian remains the same, but the new word Sonaris is added on at the end. This word starts with sonar, same as the first part of the name, which is meant to be a reference to Echo Echo's name. Echo Echo. Sonar Sonar. Get it? Also, Sonaris is a Latin word that means to cry out, call, sing, celebrate, praise, or extol. So I think it just fits all around. Moving on to evolved Vulpamancers, I propose Vulpamancer Sapiens. It's a simple change, but it reflects the fact that this is basically just a Vulpamancer with a bigger brain. Not that creative, but let's be fair, neither is the design. Next on our list, evolved Tokusstars. For this one, I propose Knockoff. Tokusstars are a reference to tokusatsu characters like Ultraman, which is pretty notorious for sparking off parodies, spin-offs, inspired media such as Super Sentai and the Power Rangers. So why not reflect that with a name that just sounds like the word knockoff? It might be dumb, but I think this one is on the same level as the original species name in terms of its creativity. To finish off the video, we've now got to cover Albedo's ultimate variants, so let's do this. Firstly, Ultimate Albedo himself. For this egomaniac, let's go with Galvanic Gravital. This uses the same name scheme as another species was created by the Galvans, the Galvanic Mechamorphs, and is also a reference to one of my favourite alien species in sci-fi, the Gravitals from Ultimaros. If you know, you know. For Ultimate Arctiguana, I suggest Polar Everfrill. This keeps the first part of the Polar Manzadil species name, but replaces Manzadil with a combination of the words Everfrost and Frill, in reference to frilled lizards. Now for Ultimate Gravitac, let's go with Colonial Satellaterra. This one takes colonial, in reference to the fact that this species has multiple heads, and also the words satellite and terra, in reference to meteorites and Earth. Now for the second to last alien of this video, Ultimate Wrath. I'll be calling this one Apopurgian Saber Sword Tiger. Bit of a mouthful, but this takes Apoplexion but changes Plex to Purge, and then adds a saber-toothed tiger but replaces tooth with sword because, I mean, he has sword knuckles. You know, it's not my best, but you know, it is what it is. Finally, we're going to be renaming the ultimate Penuncian of the Nemetrix. For this fearsome predator, I propose the name Packfear. This is in reference to pack hunting, seeing as Penuncians can clone, the word fear, as well as fur, and it also sounds a bit like the word panther, which by the way is not the name of a single species, but rather the name of a family of big cats, Panthera. Also, it sounds kind of like Pac-Man, and, as we all know,